Good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to City Hall. It is good to be here with all of you. I'm Pastor Gilman Rose. I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Faith-Based and Community Partnerships, along with our colleagues from the Community Affairs. And we want to give special thanks to Mohammed Bahi for making this day possible. Of everyday heroes, the mayor always talked about the fact that there was an artist who was drawing a young man who had a scar on his face. And he always said that we should not forget his face, even though he has a scar. And I think that every New Yorker, as you look at it, there's so many good deeds. Could you imagine if for one whole week that we only mention the good things that New Yorkers would do to one another? How great New York would look. Well, well, today we want to celebrate. We want to stop and pause for a moment. We know we have a lot of issues that is happening in the city and throughout the world. So much of heaviness, but today is a bright day for us in New York. Every day in New York. So this time I want to introduce the Mayor of New York City, Mayor Eric Adams.
Thank you. I think it's important, and you're right. We often look at day-to-day strife, the day-to-day tension, and we don't really emphasize how much as New Yorkers we come together, particularly during those times of need. And this city is an overwhelming number of New Yorkers that care for each other, that come to the aid of each other, and that coexist. I think about that symbol of all the different religious and philosophical beliefs coexist. This is a city that really is an example of how you coexist. No one does it better than New York. We coexist every day. And I think John personifies that story. John Catania, who stepped up to assist a fellow New Yorker on the transit system. 3.8 million people utilize that system. We reached a level of 3.9 million. And yes, we have 6 felony crimes on average a day that we need to zero in on and make sure we have none. But the reality is that one of those 3.9 million riders is John. And it says a lot. There's so many John Catanias on our system. Every day doing the right thing, standing up if someone needs a seat in front of them, giving them a swipe if they don't have enough to get on, coming in defense of someone who's treated unfairly or unjustly. We don't hear about them. They're not part of our narrative because I guess it's not attractive, but we heard about you. And we want to say thank you. And as a former transit police officer, I saw it every day during the early 80s, and we're seeing it every day here in the city. We show both moral and physical courage when you swiftly came to the aid of a young woman who was being attacked with a bladed weapon. And normally people run from that, or they pick up their phones and take pictures and not go to the direct aid of their fellow New Yorkers. You did it while sustaining an injury, but we want to thank you. And the victim, both are recovering. Both you and the victim are recovering. And most importantly, the attacker was apprehended, which is extremely important because of your actions. So I really admire, salute your bravery. And here at City Hall, we like to pause and just acknowledge what you're doing. And you're brave every day. You're in the school system. And my teachers will tell you, I know there's some little errors in our school system. You know how we can be. A teacher at Scarsdale High School. Our superheroes don't wear capes. They're in the classroom. They're on our subway system. They're doing the job every day. And your face of danger is really a symbol of what's great about this city. And while this is an amazing place with amazing people that are doing amazing things. So on behalf of all New Yorkers, I want to give you this proclamation. to thank you for the job well done. Whereas there's no greater example of the grit that defines the exceptional people who drive our city forward than the kindness, courage, and valor shown by John Catania, this true New Yorker who possesses a bottomless well of compassion for others, embodies the very best our amazing city has to offer. His heroism, selfishness, and unshakable strength of character will inspire his fellow New Yorkers for years to come. It is contagious to see that level of benevolence. Together, we will continue to work to guarantee safety and security for all who live and visit here and build a better, brighter New York City for all. I, Eric Adams, thank you on this day for being a hero and named this John Catania Day. Eric Adams, man, this is who's right next to him? Come on and take this picture. One of you have to say a few words. One of you have to, come on, John. You're a teacher, you used to be in the front.
It's quick, but no, I'm just happy to be here. Waiting for the recognition, and I'm happy to be time, and it's feeling well and doing good, and positivity.
Love it. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Any questions on this before we do a few more topics? Okay, what are your parents? Tell me who are teachers?
Mom.
Mom?
Dad.
Okay, come on up to get in this photo. Let's take a quick photo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Hi, nice to meet you.
So thank you all. No off topic yet. We're going to be on topic for a minute. We have a few speakers. So we have Hassan Nabil, who is here with us today. He's going to come. I know that we have short time, but I also want to call after him Afar Nassar, and then Kiha Abdel Hadi, and then Marwa Jehanini, and then Yvette Silla, in that order, so that we can go to our topic questions. Good.
Is this calling on me? Yeah. Hello, folks.
Musical chairs.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum to many of my Muslim family here as well. Thank you, Pastor Monroe. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Hassan Naveed, and I'm the Executive Director for the Office for the Prevention of Hate Crimes. I also want to commend the bravery and courage of Mr. John Catania. There should be a day that's dedicated to heroes like this every day, right? Every Muslim, including myself, is honored to call you a hero, and it's something that I cannot forget. When it comes to upstanders, it's something that our office really does work on. We have our Partners Against the Hate organizations that are really promoting folks to be out there and to be upstanders. You exemplify the upstander that is direly needed in our city. I also want to thank Ms. Diamond Phillips as well, too. It is hard as an individual who was victimized by such an incident to come forward and to be able to talk about this incident at the same time. This administration is committed to ensuring that this city is safe for everyone, regardless of who you are and what you are. We don't tolerate this sort of violence against anyone. And as the mayor said, every New Yorker, especially Muslim, will look back at this incident and remember it. So thank you, Mr. Catania, and I'll keep my comments short very much, and I'll thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Loving this little platform.
Brings us so taller.
So good afternoon, Assalamualaikum, greetings of peace. My name is Afaf Nasher. I am the Executive Director for the Council on American Islamic Relations in New York. I just want to thank again everyone who put this together, from the mayor to Brother Baggy to the Office of Prevention of Hate Crimes, which has assisted community organizations like ours to combat this proactively, as well as the pastor, and of course our heroes who we're here to celebrate. We want to remind everyone that the reason that so many Muslims are in this room is because at the time of the assault, there were some anti-Muslim rhetoric remarks that was made towards our sister Diamond. So that is the reason why we're treating this as a hate crimes. And I have to say that as someone who has been in many hospital rooms where I've seen tears, where I've seen broken bones, and where I have unfortunately even been in neighborhoods in which we've had to bury people because of death that has resulted from hate crimes, this is a much better outcome, where we saw an upstander putting himself to the line and actually helping somebody in need, his fellow New Yorker, someone he didn't know. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention something that CARE New York knows, and that is we don't often report hate crimes, which is why what our sister Diamond is doing is so important as well. As a matter of fact, only 4% of our community members report hate crimes. And that is despite the fact that 64% of Muslims in New York City say they've experienced either a hate crime or a bias incident or both. Now, John is a teacher. 32% reported that their victims were a minor, and I believe it was 34% outlined in our report that talks about these kinds of incidents happening even in educational institutions, and of course our mayor has already talked about many of these incidents occurring on our public transportation systems. These are numbers, but the trauma that people face is real, and that's what we need to focus on. And so we offer our continued prayers to our sister Diamond and Brother John for fast healing, and we offer our support as community organizations and your fellow New Yorkers, and we applaud you for everything that you do, and we ask the mayor and everybody who has a stake in this, which means every single one of us, to also be upstanders in every way that we can be, which includes getting in there and trying to prevent hate crimes to begin with. Some of the suggestions we outlined in our hate crime report, which includes educating people within the school system, at city agencies. Let's be proactive so that we don't have to come together on, unfortunately, commemorating an occasion of violence. So I thank you all, and mostly thank our upstander John and our sister Diamond for being as brave as you are and being role models for the rest of us. And I thank the mayor's office and NYPD and everyone who had a part in bringing this attacker hopefully to justice. And we're here as a recourse and a resource to every single one of you. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Tahir Abdul-Hadi. I'm the Executive Director for the Muslim American Society of New York. On behalf of Mass New York and the Muslim community as a whole, we first want to send our prayers and blessings to Diamond in her recovery, physical and emotional recovery. And we want to thank John for his courage and his bravery. There's a teaching in the Islamic faith that says, if you see an evil, you must change it with your hand. And if you cannot change it with your hand, then you speak out against it. And if you can't speak out against it, then at the very least you hate it in your heart. And there was no better embodiment of this teaching and this lesson than what John did on that fateful day. He truly showed what every New Yorker should be doing, standing up and opposing any evil and opposing injustice. And you know, Mayor Adams mentioned people pulling out their phones, and I think we all see these videos of crimes happening, and it's very disappointing and like terrible to see these crimes, but sometimes the most alarming thing in these videos is all of the people just kind of standing around, and you're like, wait, there's a whole train full of people, a bunch of grown men, not one person stands up. And you know, John was one of those people that stands up. And even in our city, when we look at how we can have a more loving and cohesive city, we sometimes look outwards. What's the city going to do? What's NYPD going to do? But we need to look inwards as a community. And Muslim American Society, we work on nurturing people and inspiring change. And our focus is really trying to get people to be kind of like John, right? You see something, you say something, you prevent it, you be a positive agent of change. And again, on behalf of everybody, thank you, John, for what you did. You're an example for everybody.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, my name is Yvette Sela, and I'm a fellow New Yorker who rides the train. It's a quote in the Quran that talks about, if you hurt one person, you hurt mankind. Right? If you help one person, you help mankind. All right? John, I want to thank you because it was very important that you show bravery and courage when you see the young lady in distress. Okay? I would also like to say, Mom and Dad, you raised a brave, and you should be very proud. And last but not least, I want to take a page out of the MTA. If you see something, say something.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. Thank you all for gathering today to join in recognizing and celebrating a New York City hero, John Catania. As a mother and as a woman, as a mother to 2 Muslim daughters, it is empowering to see us coming together to stand and say in unison that we will never tolerate hate. My name is Mona Janini, and I'm the Executive Director of the Arab American Association of New York, a community-based organization that has been serving South Brooklyn and all of New York City for over 20 years. We have been there for our community members as they have weathered overwhelming and often violent Islamophobia, living with the fear and the reality of Muslim surveillance and abuse from institutions meant to protect us, and learning to navigate these challenges in light of the historical apathy to tackle these injustices head-on. I'm sure many of my Muslim CBO leaders will agree with me when I say that tackling hate in our communities have been for years a seamlessly hopeless task. AAAY has been fortunate to build relationships with partners like Care New York under the leadership of Sister Afaf Nasher to be able to provide bystander intervention trainings to tens of thousands of New Yorkers. People like Mr. Catania, creating safe zone for our most vulnerable community members, developing resources and tools to support survivors, and more. AAAY is also currently an anchor organization in Path Forward, a citywide initiative that supports CBOs throughout New York City to develop anti-hate programming and services. Path Forward is a recognition from the mayor's office that this work requires heavy investment if it is to be successful. Progress has been made, sure, but much more investment is needed to create the change we also desperately seek. I want to thank the mayor's office for its effort to take on hate and for recognizing a true New York City hero today. It reflects the mayor's commitment to taking on this challenge and doing whatever it takes to ensure those on the ground have the necessary resources to do the work that is needed. We need the people, we need the investment, and we need community buy-in. Mr. Catania, I want to thank you for your bravery. My heart is broken that you were ever in such a situation to begin with, but I stand in awe for what you did for my sister, Diana Phillips. As a Muslim, we believe that to save one life is like saving all of humanity. Imagine the gratitude one might have towards someone who saved the world. That is the gratitude we hold for you. Thank you.
On topic for the, yes.
Just a quick question for John. Quick question for John, if you wouldn't mind just talking about what was going through your mind that day, a little over a month ago, when you decided to stand and help. Speak as much on the microphone. Thank you.
I'll say not much. It was a bit more reactionary than like a logical decision. I mean, I saw someone get attacked, and it was very violent out of nowhere, and someone needed to do something. And I was standing there. It fell on my shoulders, I guess. I mean, everyone else kind of jumped away. what else do you do? I can't let someone, that situation is just like a mortal thing. It had to happen in front of me. There was no real thought about it. Just I had to help. Simple as that.
When you say other people jumped away, other people were scared of what they were seeing?
Yeah, I'd say so. She looked very alone and clearly injured in the moment, so I just tried to do my best, tried to intervene and stop any more violence. I'm hoping I can do that. I myself got a little injured, but that's all right.
Thank you.
I want to really encourage people as we roll out our breaking bread, building bond, 1,000 dinners across the city, 10 people at each dinner, and doing something revolutionary, talking to each other. And we are going to encourage individuals to participate. It's time for the good people of the city to know each other and not allow that scar to define us. We want people to see our face. And so again, thank you so much for what you have done, and just continue to do the great press you are and educate. A couple of